Kings and queens, what's going on? And welcome back to another episode of Kicking It with Kay. Of course, it is your girl, Kayla, also known as what? Your favorite life coach. Yep, you guessed it correct. And today I am joined here by, he's more like a little brother to me now. Like, I can't get rid of him, y'all. He won't go nowhere. But I am joined by Kamari Fuller today. Listen, Kamari, first off, before we go any further into this podcast, I want to give a shout out to you and Pastor Paul for the episode that you guys did last week, talking about vision and more. So shout out to you guys for doing a podcast takeover. I really do appreciate it. I had a chance to relax and let you guys do what you do. So I really do thank you guys for speaking to our audience and just giving them a really good intake on vision.
Thank you. Thank you for allowing us to take over the podcast. It was fun.
I bet it was. Anytime y'all want to take over, y'all can. Like, just let me know. Okay. I'll step to the side. I'll let y'all do what y'all do. And that just be it. Right. But I wanted to come today, and I just wanted to kind of do, like, a recap of what you guys talked about. So, of course, probably y'all two didn't know exactly what y'all was going to talk about, probably up until recording. So, what was your thought process as you guys was talking about vision and when it pertains to some of the questions that Pastor Paul was asking you about vision and where you are going next?
Well, I just kind of wanted to just kind of speak from things that have helped me. And of course, Pastor Paul is a great visionary, and he has wonderful vision. And so it was nice having him to kind of prompt me with those questions, which kind of helped to like guide us in a direction, I think, to give everybody kind of like a nice, I don't want to say, I guess, like guide for, kind of some things that are important when we're talking about what it takes to have vision for your life. Right. And I think that we were able just to kind of provide, some wonderful key pointers as it pertains to vision in all aspects of your life, because you can have vision in with all aspects of your life.
That is so true. And I think it was very important that you guys talked about vision, especially we're getting ready to literally enter into the month of August. Kids are going back to school, parents, adults are going back to work, people are starting different businesses and stuff like that. So I think this is a great season to do like a touch up on our vision plan or our goal. It's funny because like everybody can have a vision, but you can have a vision but don't have any steps in play to actually achieve that vision or that dream or that thing that you want to accomplish. So with that being said, what are some things that you are doing now, because you're getting ready to go back to school as well? So what are some things that you are putting into play now to help with your vision or where you see yourself?
So of course I'm getting ready to go back to college, and I won't know exactly what my semester will look like until kind of I'm thrown into it and get the schedule from the teachers and everybody gets that straight. But I think just taking kind of a look at my freshman year of college and seeing what was successful about that and what wasn't successful about it is going to really help me to have a nice balance between doing well in college, but also having a life outside of school.
Yeah, most definitely.
So for me, kind of what that looks like, well, I'll go with kind of what went wrong. It wasn't necessarily wrong. It's just that it could have been done better. And so first semester of college, I think I was doing too much in that I was trying to do too much at once for school. I was trying to get like everything done very quickly. I was thinking like, okay, like if I can just get everything done super quick, then I'll have the rest of the week to chill or whatever. But that just wasn't sustainable. It wasn't good. I found out that I was actually less productive and that I was spending longer doing work, and it was actually taking up more time in my week, and I was having less time to do what I wanted because I was trying to work all day, and then I would just be tired, and it just wasn't good. So second semester, what I did was I was like, I'm going to do my work, but just try to balance it out more so during the week. And something that really helped was I just used like this little note thing on my Mac and just wrote the stuff down on that. Before I was like writing stuff down. But this, I was just like, let me write down everything that I have to do for the week. But then not only that, because that can be overwhelming in itself, just having a big list of tasks to do. So then what I would do is I would kind of say like, okay, well, this needs to be done by this day, and I want to do this by this date. And then also allowing myself to be flexible in kind of this structure that I set for myself. So like, okay, maybe if I don't get this done here, then that's okay. I'll move this around. Just realizing that I don't have to exactly stick to it, but it's a good starting point. So I think that is something that I'm going to apply to this semester. And another thing, kind of for my vision that I have for this upcoming semester of college, is that I don't want to neglect the music side of it with the work that I'm doing there, because I'm starting to gain a lot more momentum and things are starting to look, really good. And I don't just, when I start school, want to stop what I'm doing. So I want to make sure that I, like I said, apply that kind of like that system of, okay, this is me planning out my school week. This is the stuff that I want to do. And then just allotting myself the time to also work my other job. Because it's a whole nother job. People will act like it's not. And I've seen a musician that I follow, and he was saying that one of the things is that when he took it full time, like that it became his full time job, people wouldn't respect his time because they thought that, oh, like he's just doing music. He can do whatever, whenever he's doing music. So people thought that he was always available to do stuff and that he was never really working. But just because you enjoy what you do does not mean that you're not working. It's very much so a job. Even with me, like music, of course, it's not bringing in like a ton of money. It's not something that I could live off of right now. But to even get it to that point, I have to take it serious and treat it like it's a job. So I don't want to neglect that either. And just kind of like what we talked about last time, the whole like praying aspect of it, trusting God, not only that for like the plan for my life, but that he's given me the ability to put in the work. Trusting him that he's actually made me capable of doing my part. So letting him handle what I can't control, and then trusting that he's allowed me the ability to actually handle the things that he's given me to control.
That's really good. So I got like a few takeaways from everything that you just said. So let me run down my checklist real fast. But I think that it is very important. Like you said, you had like your notes on your Mac. I'm a firm believer of write the vision, make it plain. Like I live by that, because like if you can visually see what it is that you have to do, then it makes it easy because it's right there in your face to look at. But not only also with just writing the vision and making it plain, you're simply prioritizing, okay, I got this workload, but I got to put some dates to it now. So this project is due by this date. This project is due a little later down the line, so I can kind of put this one to the side for a little bit. This one is due here. So making sure that you have like your dates and stuff in order. So you done wrote your vision, you made it plain about what it is that you want to do. So now you done prioritize exactly what needs to come in what order. And now you're at the part to where you're finding the balance between your everyday life, your workload, your school load. So now everything is coming to full circle. And a lot of times, I think you hit it right on the head. And I'm paraphrasing, but I'm gonna say it my way. But pretty much to the lines of like, we take on such a big load that we're doing so much that we're not really getting anything done. It's making it harder on us because, like you said, you would try to do all your work up front so that you can have like the weekend or whatever to do whatever it is that you want to do. But in reality, it was making it more harder on you to actually get the stuff done or whatnot. So I think that goes into like our time management. How much time are we spending like with each project? And I think we have to do, as humans, we have to do better at that, because a lot of times we just give our time up to whatever, and it consumes us so much that we become tired, we become fatigued, and we can't really function throughout our day. So I think really having that overall layout or that blueprint, and for you to actually say you looked at your first semester, saw what went good, saw what didn't go good, and then you applied whatever it was to your second semester to make it better. So I think that every now and then we got to go back and look at our blueprint. And with it being a blueprint, we can always erase some stuff and add some stuff in. So I think that's the best thing about having that blueprint, and just looking at life in general and being like, okay, option A didn't work out the way that I thought it was going to work out. So let me move to option B. Option B may be a little bit more promising, but just making sure that I'm going, I keep pushing myself and getting what I want, becoming a better me. I had the opportunity to sit down with some students today, and we was talking about like mental health and all that good stuff, and just like getting them ready for school, getting ready to start. And one thing that I told them is that, you know, whatever you do in life, because I went around the room and I was like, okay, what do you want to be when you grow up? A lot of them was like, I want to be an NFL player, I want to be a musician, I want to be a dancer, I want to be one little girl, she said, I want to be a lady cop. And I was like, okay, you can be that lady cop. I want to be a doctor, this and third. So it's just like, when we're young, we have so much ambition, so much that we want to do. But as we get older, we step away from it because this come, that come, and we start to get foggy. But I was letting them know that, you know, whatever it is that you want to do in life, every decision that you make today is going to have an effect on you getting to that goal, or you getting to whatever the vision is that you have for your life. And so I was telling them something that one of my elementary teachers told me a long time ago that stuck with me. And that was this saying that goes, good, better, best. Never let it rest until your good is better and your better is your best. So everything that you do in life, put your best foot forward. Like, don't settle just for the good. Don't settle just for better, but go and reach your best. And I think that's something that we got to keep in mind as we're getting ready to enter into this new season of our lives, is that we got to do our best.
We do,
we got to do our best.
We got to do our best, And just some of the stuff that you were talking about, the mental health piece, I want to talk about just for a second. Of course, we know like the Olympics is going on right now, and of course Simone Biles, absolutely the best gymnast, you know. And she, as part of her vision, she said, okay, let me see, let me look at myself and see what I'm capable of handling. And she's not letting the pressures of the world, the naysayers, the people who are saying that she's weak, because I think it's actually a very strong thing to come out and say, you know what, my mental state is not in a good place. My body's in absolutely wonderful shape. You know, I'm the best gymnast, My body's in an absolutely phenomenal state, but what does that mean if my mental isn't correct, and I think one of the biggest things is that there's so many lessons in that, but it teaches us about I think largely also sustainability. If she knows that her body she only gets one body, and if she's not in the right mental state, she's doing absolutely, you know, phenomenal and insane, but also dangerous, you know, feats of, you know, acrobats and if her mental's not in the right place, she could get hurt.
That is so true.
So there's the sustainability and thinking like, okay, like, I'm the greatest gymnast. I must perform, and there's no way that I could drop out of this. It's such a great opportunity. But then she's like, no, I'm actually realizing that if I want to continue to do this, continue to be able to do these things, that right now is not the time for me to continue when when my body's like literally telling me like, okay, I cannot.
Yeah, that is so true. And I commend her for everything that she is doing, because that teaches us a lot.
Right.
Because even though her body is in a good condition, mentally, if I'm not there, we got to think that our body, it works together. So if one part of my body is off, it's just a matter of time before something else happens.
Right.
So it's just like we got to be mindful, and we have to be aware of ourselves to know when something isn't right, and make sure that we're making the right adjustments every now and then. I can care less about what the world has to say, or whoever else got to say, but as long as I'm taking care of myself, and that goes to us putting ourselves first.
Right.
A lot of times we always put ourselves last because we want to make sure that we're doing this for a person, or making sure we're getting this done. But no, if I'm going to, and we say this all the time, if I'm going to give you my best, I can't give you anything on empty. I gotta be full for me to actually give to you. And I think for her to come out and say, I'm going to stop with the games and really take care of my mental, that's big of her. Like, that's really big. And just think how well off some of us would be if we had that mentality of thinking, to be like, let me just back for a way. I'm not giving up the game.
Exactly.
I just need
I just need some time to think. It's a big lesson, and I think that of course something that you can learn from athletes in general, just great athletes, is that hard work and determination goes a long way. But I think that in this, she's taught a lesson that you don't often see. I think it's a big lesson, and one that's important, and one that hasn't been seen by that. I think that she's done something by just being honest, transparent, and also just putting herself first. But it's also not. I've seen some people call it selfish, but it's honestly not.
It's not.
It's not. She knows that that even her mental state being off can affect other people as well. She said, don't want to affect the team in a negative way, right? But that's not an excuse. It's actually real. If someone's on your team, and especially, the best person on the team isn't performing well, then that can affect how you perform, and especially if their mental state isn't in a good spot. Think about a leader. If their mental state isn't in a good spot, then the people that they're leading, it can be kind of hard sometimes.
Yeah, so. That is true. I take that back to when I was talking to the kids. Another thing that I was telling them is that, your vibe will attract your tribe. So if I come in and my mental isn't where it needs to be, or if I'm just like out of it, it's going to have an effect on the people that I am around. Because if I go from being this go-getty person, happy, doing all this, so every time you guys see me, I bring light to the room, so it has no point but to rub off on you guys, and everybody else is going to be happy. But if I come in and I'm like literally just over it, not feeling it for the day, it's going to rub off on everybody else, because y'all going to be looking at me like, oh, Kayla let's not bother her. And it's just like, it makes you unapproachable. It causes all these other things to happen. But to actually mention it and just be like, I just need space. Like, there's nothing wrong with saying that you need space to handle whatever situation or things you got going on. And I think about it because culture, we have really flip culture when it comes in our society. When we think about just how you said that for somebody saying that they just need to take time for themselves, we see it as selfish. When did that become a thing? You get what I'm saying? Like, I'm literally taking care of myself to do what it is that I need to do, but it's just like we see it as selfish.
And I think that, and like, you'll hear people say like, wow, 10 years ago this wouldn't have been the case. Like, we've come a long way as far as making I think the talk about mental health and really just prioritizing your mental and physical health. We've come a long way with that, and a long way with people being able to say, it is okay that I'm not okay. But we still have a lot of ways to go.
It's still we got a long way. We got a long way.
Definitely have a long way. But that's really important to vision. It's really an essential part of a vision, is being able to do that, because that just goes back to knowing yourself. And like you were saying with, when we're kids, we have all these big dreams and aspirations. Kind of as we grow up, the world just continues to strip us of them, right?
Yes.
Fear comes in, we get naysayers. We're afraid of, well, if we go after this, what if we fail?
Right.
Then you have people who say, you can't do that. And it's weird because sometimes people are more accepting of them saying they want to be this, they want to be that. But then there also is that point where it's like, no, you might want to think about that. I don't think. And it almost comes from like, dang, like I wasn't comfortable being able to have these wild dreams and hopes and aspirations that almost seem like they won't ever be obtainable.
Right.
They won't ever be possible. So since I'm ashamed of that, I'm going to put that off on you, right? So no, you can't be a musician. Why? You're not going to, you probably won't make it to the NBA. So you might want to think about being a doctor, telling these kids like, oh, maybe be a doctor, maybe be a dentist, maybe be a programmer or something, something that's obtainable. We want to think something that's obtainable. Let's be real here, right?
Right.
But it's like, no, because there are people who are NBA players and there are people who are musicians. And sometimes often a part of their story is overcoming the naysayers, overcoming the fear, right?
Yeah.
But imagine how much more successful and healthy it would be if we actually encourage people to go after, the things that they actually want to do instead of having them do what society would have them do.
I think about it goes back to our mentality of thinking, like how you said somebody can be like, oh, that's not going to happen for you all because it didn't happen for them. I may get this wrong, but it's like they call it like the crabs in the barrel mentality.
Right.
So like if you have all these crabs in a barrel, the crabs are trying to pull each other down.
Right.
When one is trying to escape, they're always constantly trying to pull each other down.
Yeah.
And that's pretty much what it is. Our mentality of thinking, if I wasn't able to do it, then I don't want to see you. I want to see you succeed, but I don't want to see you succeed in the area that I failed in.
Right.
So it's just like, how do we shift our mindset? And there it goes again, our mental health, our vision. It all starts with our thought process.
Right.
What we think about ourselves will ultimately fall into play of how we react to different things and how we treat other people.
Right.
So it's just like, I can say I want to see you successful, do whatever you want to, but in my mind, if I'm thinking that I didn't make it in that area, it's good for me to say it, but if I'm not really showing you my actions of like, man, I really want to see Kamari do good or whoever, it's going to show and it's going to rub off.
Definitely. And that just, it's funny because I mean, it seems so simple, right? All this stuff is interconnected, right? All this stuff is so connected to one another. If one thing is off or you're not doing well in one area, it really does affect all of the different areas. And like what you just said, it does show when you might act like you're like, I want you to succeed, but you don't really want people to succeed. Or what I see oftentimes is people watching from afar, but they're afraid to say something, or they don't think they should say something. And I don't really know where that started, right? Of people just kind of watching from afar, like it's like, oh, I like it's weird, like I like what they're doing, so let me like look at them from afar, but I'm gonna keep up with them, but I don't want to show other people that I'm keeping up with them.
That right there is so true. And I don't know where it comes from. I just don't understand why we just can't be supportive of each other.
Right.
Like, if somebody is winning, listen, I'm all for your win. You take your W and you do what you do, because I know mine is coming too. It may not be on the same timeline as yours, but somewhere down the line, I'm going to get mine. I think about, let's take Facebook, for instance. You can make a post on your wall on Facebook, and it'll probably get like, let's say 25 likes or hearts or whatever, but you post that same story or same thing you post in your story, and you got like 1,000 views, 240 people saw your story. So that just goes to show you that people will watch. I'm not gonna like it on your wall, because if I like it on your wall, people gonna see that
And then you'll see, right? You'll
and that person will see it too. But let me go to their story, and then especially if that person isn't a friend of yours, it's still gonna show, but it won't have their name, but it'll show that people that you're not friends with or view your story or whatnot. But it's just like, we'll watch from afar, but I don't want to give you the big head and let you know that I'm watching you. Right,
and then this is the other part of it, which is just, it's so weird, right? So when someone's doing well, or there's a lot of positive things happening in someone's life, there are those people who will watch from afar, but they don't want anybody to know, and they don't want you to know that they see what you're doing, and that they actually like what you're doing, right? But then the second something negative happens,
listen, come on.
People really will feed into it and be attracted to all the negativity, and then they're okay with you knowing that they've seen, such and such happen, this happened, that happened. They're attracted to the drama and the negativity instead of being attracted to the prospering, the thriving, the positivity. And it's so weird.
It is. It's very weird, but it's just sad that that's literally the reality that we're living in. Right. I just wish that people would be more supportive of each other and not want to see each other fall, because if we are all negative, or if we're all failing, what's the good coming out of it? Nothing good is coming out of it. So I think it would be better if we just all took the time to just really support each other. And you don't even have to support me up front. Right. It can be a background support, if you don't want to be seen and viewed.
Right, so I think, that's also another part of it. I obviously make music, and I have a best friend of mine who supports me, but she doesn't necessarily listen to my music. But that's okay. Supporting me doesn't mean, oh, you got to listen to all the songs that I release, or you listen to the music that I put out. But it's just if I'm talking about it or something like that, you can be encouraging and not be negative of it.
That is
or
so true.
That's like if I have a business and I want to sell cupcakes. I don't expect everybody to know. That I know to come and buy my cupcakes or to come and check out my business or what have you. Of course, I think it is a sign of appreciation that your friends. Part of it is some of your friends, coming out and supporting you by, they got a new business. Let's kind of give them some traffic, that type of thing. But I'm not entitled to that. And I know that I'm not. So I'm not. I know that not everybody that I know will do that. If I had that cupcake business, not everybody's going to come in, buy the cupcakes, right? But there's a difference between, doing that and then also being no, you should never start a cupcake business, that type of thing, just kind of so there's definitely a big difference. We're not entitled to them actively participating in it or buying into whatever we have, but at the same time they shouldn't be spreading negativity or doubt or projecting doubt onto us, that type of thing.
I think that is so good. I think our next episode, we need to talk about support and support system. Right. Because support looks different from different angles, really. Right. So I definitely think we should talk about that next. But I don't want to hold this conversation too long because it has definitely been good, and we can talk all day. But I just simply again want to thank you and Pastor Paul again for the episode that you guys did last week of Vision and More, and just you coming back to do a recap with me about vision, and making sure that as we are going through this season of our lives or getting ready to enter into a new season of our lives, that we have that blueprint. It's okay to erase some stuff off that blueprint and add some stuff, looking at what went well and what didn't go well, reevaluating and doing it over again to the best of your ability. And always, of course, whatever you do in life, reach for the best. Don't settle for the good. Don't settle for better, but make sure you reach for your best in everything that you do.
Definitely.
I think that's good.
Yeah.
Awesome. Well, again, Kamari, thank you again for joining me for another episode of Kicking It with Kay. To all of our listeners and viewers, we thank you guys for joining us and kicking it with us. And listen, I'm your girl, Kayla. also known as your favorite life coach. This is Kamari, the up and coming rapper on the scene. You guys be on the lookout for new music. If you don't have his current new single, Lunar, make sure you check out all of his platforms and get it. Go listen to it.
Thank you.
Awesome. With that being said, we're out.
Peace out.